The dramatic claim that suggests a final sentence or a permanent goodbye forever for Tiger Woods does not reflect any real or verified situation, and instead comes from sensationalized wording that often circulates online to attract attention rather than to report facts. In reality, Tiger Woods remains one of the most significant and recognizable figures in the history of professional golf, and while his life has included both extraordinary achievements and personal challenges, there is no credible information supporting any notion of a final legal sentence that would end his career or public life in the way such headlines suggest. The reference to a DUI typically points to his well-documented 2017 incident, when he was arrested in Florida under suspicion of driving under the influence. That case, however, did not result in any extreme or career-ending punishment. Instead, it was resolved through the legal system with penalties consistent with similar first-time offenses, including probation, fines, and mandatory participation in a diversion program. It is important to understand that such legal outcomes are not unusual and certainly do not equate to a permanent ban from public life or professional activity. Since that time, Woods has continued to remain active in the golfing world, although his participation has been shaped more recently by physical health challenges rather than any legal consequences. Over the years, he has undergone multiple surgeries, particularly related to his back and legs, including recovery from a serious car accident in 2021 that significantly impacted his mobility and playing schedule. These physical issues have understandably influenced how often he competes, but they are medical in nature rather than legal or disciplinary outcomes. The phrase "goodbye forever" in the headline is therefore misleading, as it implies a finality that does not exist in reality. Instead, what has occurred in Tiger Woods' life is a gradual transition from being a full-time dominant competitor to a more selective and limited presence in professional golf, where he participates in fewer tournaments but remains highly influential in the sport. His legacy is already firmly established, with multiple major championship victories and a career that reshaped modern golf, both in terms of athletic performance and global popularity. Even as his playing schedule has become more restricted, his involvement in golf has continued through mentorship, design projects, and occasional appearances in major events, demonstrating that his connection to the sport remains strong. The persistence of exaggerated narratives around his life reflects a broader pattern often seen with global celebrities, where moments from their past are repeatedly reshaped into dramatic or misleading headlines that do not accurately represent their current reality. In Tiger Woods' case, the contrast between public perception and actual circumstances is especially stark, because his fame spans decades and includes both peak dominance and widely publicized personal struggles. This combination often leads to oversimplified storytelling, where complex life events are reduced to extreme phrases that do not reflect the full picture. What is often overlooked in these narratives is the resilience he has shown throughout his career. Despite injuries, setbacks, and public scrutiny, he has repeatedly returned to competition at various points, including one of the most celebrated comebacks in sports history when he won the Masters tournament in 2019 after years of physical rehabilitation and uncertainty about his future in the game. That achievement alone demonstrated that his story was far from over at that time, and nothing since then has indicated a definitive ending of his presence in the sport. While it is true that his current activity level is not the same as during his peak years, this reflects the natural progression of an athlete's career rather than any final judgment or conclusion. In reality, Tiger Woods continues to exist within the sports ecosystem as a legendary figure whose influence extends beyond active competition. Therefore, the idea of a final sentence or a permanent farewell is not supported by facts, but rather by sensational language that distorts the truth. His journey is ongoing in a different form, shaped by experience, recovery, and legacy rather than abrupt endings.